So, I finally have the appropriate material to discuss this. This is a guy I've really wanted to discuss for some time, ever since he was brought to my attention, but I mainly couldn't do it just because I felt I hadn't had enough material to do so, or at least have enough material where it would actually mean something. But now I do! It seems I'm about to tackle another popular, in large quotations, spriter, and expose him for his stupidity. I've made reference to him here and there, but you know what? I think it'd be better to actually make him a subject. Without dragging this out any further, I'm here to discuss AkumaTH. Yes, someone decided to turn the great Akuma into a hedgehog. Look, I know he's been getting nerfs in Street Fighter 2, but this is just insulting. For those of you who aren't familiar with the name, he is a well-known sprite comic writer who is also in charge of a forum page called The Middle Grounds for essentially his stuff, either videos or comics or whatever. And I have to say, he is one of the worst comic writers ever. If you want a gist of his sprite comics, he has a number of them. AkumaTH's comics, Darkwing Duck Beyond, Hero, Twist of Fate, Royal Rumble, World Sprite Tournament, and that's just naming a few. You could sort of get a general idea of a few of these, but make no mistake. Every one of these comics can be boiled down to the protagonists all being Gary Stews or Mary Sues, villains that are completely incompetent, characters being off or succeeding because plot demands it, and everyone, and I mean everyone, is completely out of character. He made Sonic the Hedgehog into a buzzkill. He made Mega Man into a boring secretary stereotype. He makes Goku rely on his most powerful transformations than he usually does. And depending on if he likes the characters or not, will determine how they're interpreted. Now, while this may not mean jack shit to a few of you, as someone who does writing myself, currently working on a story, aced creative writing in high school, and plan on becoming a manga artist in the near future, I get sick looking at this shit. There are plenty of times I've seen these comics, and they are just so fucking terrible. It makes me wonder how the hell this even got off the ground. Yes, I could say that about a number of other people. One of them I've also exposed the hell out of to the point he got an ED page, but holy shit. This is the kind of stuff that's so dumb you have to see it for yourself. Now, I won't leave you hanging there. I'll tell you a little bit of the stupidity that you'll be seeing, in case you're curious. As I said, he gets so many character traits completely wrong, along with characters' abilities. I go over the whole list, but I'd be here all day, so I'll limit it to a few characters that I believe are his most well-known character fuck-ups. The way he portrays Goku and Kirby. Those are two of them. I'm going to be naming a couple more here or there. Super Saiyan 4 Goku was defeated by regular Ryu from Street Fighter from a simple back kick. I don't care if he broke his leg kicking him so hard. This is Super Saiyan 4 Goku we're talking about. This guy barely budges an inch from an explosion to the face when he's Super Saiyan 2, yet a kick somehow breaks Super Saiyan 4. On top of that, his idea of the Spirit Bomb being illegal because it's an outside help move, dumbass. The Spirit Bomb can gather energy from non-sentient beings too. So it's not just people who can actually think, you can also get it from plants or trees and such. Then comes his later comics where Goku is somehow hurt by, get this, a sniper rifle that shoots anti-tank rounds. You heard me right, people. I'm not drunk. A sniper rifle that shoots anti-tank rounds. First off, let me discuss the idea about how a weapon such as this can't even work. First off, these are anti-tank rounds. You could probably hold at least, two of these in your hands and it would probably be full. And this shit is coming out of a sniper rifle, a weapon with already massive recoil. In fact, a sniper rifle's recoil is so powerful, it has a chance to potentially harm the user of said rifle. If you fire the rifle off too many times consecutively, depending on your muscle or arm structure, it can rip your arms off, or at least tear them out of their sockets if you're not careful. And the reason for the recoil is because you're shooting rounds from probably yards away from targets trying to get headshots where bullets have to penetrate the skull to make its target. So the rifle has to exert gases that make the bullet shoot fast enough to be able to not only make the distance, but also pierce through for its target. Now, take that and make it shoot anti-tank rounds. Bullets that aren't very light and used to destroy, well, tanks. Forget your arms, you'd be lucky your entire collarbone doesn't explode from the impact. Yet, somehow, that's enough to hurt Goku. Someone who has taken explosion after explosion to the face and body, and has come out perfectly fine. Also, let's not forget how fast Goku is as a character. Goku is pretty speedy, even back in the original series when he fought Kenshin. His speed was shown to drastically increase along with the focus on his enemy. Yet, somehow he falls victim to pressure points. Now keep in mind, I'm not upset just because certain characters lose a fight. I don't get salty over stuff like that. Unless it's someone sucking with Palutene in Smash 4, in that case stop making her look bad. However, when I get on people's cases for, is when they force someone to lose something that the character has pulled through countless number of times before. Like for example, I won't get mad if Colossus from the X-Men loses a fight. However, if the reason he lost was because he got shot by a regular bullet, then that's when we have an issue. Akuma has gone off record saying he doesn't think Goku is a warrior, yet what do I get when I type in Z Warrior for Dragon Ball Z? Oh look, it's fucking Goku. Sure, he's a guy who cares for his allies and only cares about fair and honest fights, but are you really going to say he's not a warrior because of that? I can say the same thing about a shit ton of other characters. Marth, Shulk, Luffy, Sora from Kingdom Hearts, Kenshin, Naruto, Mega Man X, hell, even your precious Ryu falls under this category. If anybody wants a credible source of the word warrior, let's look up the dictionary definition of the word. Warrior, noun, especially in former times. A brave or experienced soldier or fighter. Goku has been training as a fighter ever since he was a little kid and has taken on plenty of people at fighting tournaments or people trying to destroy the world. So by the dictionary definition, yes, Goku is a warrior. He's as much of a warrior as Ryu is. He may not be the warrior you like him to be, but to be fair, I'd rather he not be the warrior you like, considering your definition of a warrior is someone who always wins no matter the bullshit reason. As for Kirby, Knuckles fighting Kirby and somehow survived being inhaled simply because he climbed out, even though that's not how it works. And before you people bring up Super Smash Bros., that's not canon. In Kirby, once you're completely inhaled by Kirby, you can't escape unless he spits you out or swallows you. Which, if he does the latter, then it kind of means you're dead. Then he fights Proto Man, where Proto Man somehow is not sucked in by the goddamn Hypernova. And remember, the Hypernova power in Kirby Triple Deluxe is powerful enough to suck in Wispy Woods. Those are just two examples of characters that he gets completely wrong. But even on this cast page, he gets quite a few things wrong. But there's just one that I want to focus on right now, and that's Makoto Shishio from Rurouni Kenshin. Considering I've marathoned the series more times than needed, and seriously people, I use Misao as my avatar, who is from that series, I've noticed quite a number of problems with the bio. First off, Kenshin became a free-wielding swordsman to protect Isshin Shishi members? No! He protects anybody who is weak or being threatened by even if they aren't patriots. And besides, Kenshin hates the Meiji government more than a lot of other people because he was the one who helped forge it. As for Shishio being knocked unconscious, no he wasn't. He was never knocked unconscious. Yes, he was shot in the head, but he didn't go unconscious because he was actually screaming while being burned alive. An unconscious person wouldn't scream even if their body was on fire because he or she is, well, you know, unconscious. As for taking over Hades? What? I remember him ending up in hell, but Hades? Also, he took it over? Last we saw, he was going on a conquest to overthrow hell, but we never actually saw him do it. Then again, you do have the tendency to use the whole it happened off screen cop-out, but I'll get to that later. Unless this is another comic thing that happened that I'm pretty sure not a lot of people would know about, considering this guy has over 4,000 comics. Yes! He has over 4,000 of these things. I hope you sleep well tonight. I now question this. How did he come back from, you know, dying? You even mentioned he spontaneously combusted, so how the hell can he come back from the dead? Who revived him? Oh, right, there's nothing that explains that at all. Because, you know, the concept of explaining shit in exhibition is foreign to this guy. Also, this line here. Since he plans to grow an army instead of a select few, he had decided to drop the name Jupongatna. What does that even mean? Wasn't the previous army he had called the Jupongatna in the actual series? Didn't he gather an army together which was under that name? Yet he's dropping the name in the series because he's forming an army? This makes no sense! Furthermore, the team Shishio currently has on this cast page, Why would Frieza agree to work with someone he could easily blow up at the snap of a finger? Then these two robots like the Anime Warrior, and I'm not even kidding with this one, the D-Rex. I'm just gonna leave that to settle in. Hell, even Street Fighter lore, the shit you based your character after, you fucked up on. I recall back with the Goku vs. Ryu fight you did. Off-screen bullshit dictated that Ryu somehow mastered control over the Satsui no Hado. For those of you who don't play Street Fighter or watch anything related to the entire series, the Satsui no Hado, the surge of murderous intent, is a dark energy-based force that grows from the dark aspects of human instinct. To even use this type of energy, a fighter must be at the point where they are so desperate to win a fight, they would literally kill for it. It's a powerful energy, but at the cost of driving you insane and going on a murderous rampage. The only character in Street Fighter that truly mastered the Satsui no Hado is Akuma. And even then, he's gone completely insane wanting to constantly murder to prove his power. And yet somehow, Ryu from Street Fighter is able to master this power at its fullest without becoming a murderous monster. Also, doesn't Ryu mastering the Satsui no Hado go completely against his character? Last I checked, Ryu didn't want to use the dark power because he knows if he relies on it, he'll become just like Akuma. And Ryu doesn't want to be a murderer. So, way to go, sir. Despite being named after a Street Fighter character, you show you don't know the most basic thing about the most iconic Street Fighter. That is possibly the greatest irony out of this whole thing. Again, you're all probably wondering, well, what's the big deal? Yeah, he's shit at writing a good story and keeping characters faithful to their original, so what's the big deal? Well, I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with the Screw Attack series Death Battle. I'm sure a lot of you people think it's really lost its touch and it's a crock of shit mess. Well, there might be a reason for it. Take a look who's on the research team. This is no Photoshop trick. AkumaTH is part of the research team for Death Battle. A guy who, as I've stated previously, can't write any character to save his life, is part of a team whose main job is to gather factual information about a subject matter. You can probably see where the drop in quality came from. Sure, he's not the only guy doing research, but this does raise a red flag for me. Perhaps it was a way for him to get his name more recognized by something. Perhaps it's to prove nowadays anyone can be on the research team of Death Battle. Who the fuck knows? All you gotta know is, if you have a beef with Death Battle, there's probably a good reason why. For one, the whole Kirby vs. Boo fight, while I'm glad Kirby won, the fact that the anime was being used as a reference bugged me. Consider the anime isn't canon to anything related to the games. Meanwhile, that's exactly what Akuma does in his comics when anything is related to Kirby. Hell, he even makes Smash Brothers canon. Want more proof? Remember Goku vs. Superman when Goku's body was paralyzed by Superman because pressure points? Same thing happened with Goku in Akuma's Sprite comics, only apparently any puny underpowered being can do it to him. That's still only a few examples, but I don't need to make this video any longer than it needs to be. I am willing to discuss more about this in the comments if you want, along with the guy who's been requesting this for me for quite a while. I'm sure he doesn't mind giving his perspective. Still, you'd figure a series like Death Battle, a series that surrounds their fight under factual information, would have someone on their research team who is actually good at providing factual information. This is a guy who thinks Smash Brothers is canon to Nintendo franchises after all. Now for the big thing I want to discuss. And it's one of my favorites every time I stumble across shit like this. After seeing how awful this guy is in terms of having his credibility called out, I just had to jump in and play things into my hands. So I went on his forum site in hopes to stir up something. And what better way to do that than as my trolling persona, HiddenView49. Sad thing is, while some people already know HiddenView49 is me, and the purpose of the account is to troll for reactions and dirty laundry, I still get people giving me exactly what I want. Hell, despite Vicious already knowing I was Hidden View, he still aired his own dirty laundry, without realizing that's exactly what I wanted him to do. And now look at him. ED Page and a shit ton of people who used to respect him but no longer do. Apologies if I'm stroking my own E-dick right now, but even you gotta admit, Hidden View is possibly one of my greatest creations ever. I go onto the forum site as HiddenView49 and start a thread entitled "The Writer is a Hack." And what do you know? Akuma comes running there, whining and his buddies trying to back him up. Seriously, it's rather sad how frequently he even responds and hides behind other people defending him. Now, I'm not against having your buddies back you up, but come on, when you're the one getting called out on, shouldn't you be jumping in here and there to defend yourself a bit too? Not let your friends take the heat for you? It just paints you as so incompetent that you can't even defend yourself. The last message I even got from Akuma on the thread was, wait until March and you might see something.